50 and beyond. Aging gracefully.
It's possible to be standing in a room full of people, especially the people you know, and still feel like the loneliest person in the world. Loneliness can cause deep sadness because people feel like you don't have someone to laugh with, you don't have someone to spill your tea with, you don't have someone to confide in. And loneliness can actually contribute to depression. So, this brings me to what I like to explain in the short time that I have right now. Handling loneliness and depression for aging adults. Now, you may want to know what the aging adult. I know you're not, you know what exactly it is. However, we need to understand that aging comes with its own challenges. And one of the major challenge that people have to deal with is being able to connect relevantly. When an aging adult finds it difficult to connect, or let me say, cannot really find a connecting link between himself or herself and its immediate environment and the people that are within, then loneliness is likely to set in. Which tells me that there's a link between loneliness and depression, especially in aging adults. Now, loneliness is a risk factor for depression. Loneliness is a state of mind and a feeling of not being connected. The word connection is important, okay? Because it's possible to be surrounded and still feel isolated. And then it's also a feeling of not being understood. This happens mostly, with adults, okay? And then you just feel nobody understands me, maybe what I feel, what I'm trying to pass across, the way I do my things. And of course, as an adult, aging adult, you have a systemic way of thinking, of doing things, of coordinating life, which at that point you feel nobody can tell you what to do or not to do anymore. Okay, loneliness could also set in when you don't feel supported. There are lots of adults today who actually do not feel supported by their immediate, connection and all of that. So loneliness is actually common in aging adults. Now, I like to also mention on signs of loneliness so that you will understand it when an aging adult around you is displaying those signs of loneliness and signs of depression. Remember, don't forget, loneliness could lead to depression, but loneliness does not mean you are you're already depressed. Let me put it that way. So, the major sign of loneliness is that you are surrounded with people, but you do not feel that you have a sense of belonging. Okay? You feel misunderstood. You feel like nobody supports me. All right. And those three major signs, they are things to look out for. Do you feel lonely when you're with people, surrounded by activities and all of that? And then do you feel disconnected, like I don't belong here? Or even when you are there, you're just there. You get what you get what I'm trying to say in that light. So meanwhile, depression actually, let me just mention the signs of depression. Depression actually is a persistent feeling of sadness. Now, I need to make us understand that you could be lonely and not very sad. All right. I know it doesn't quite feel good not to have a point of connection, somebody to connect with. Okay. But when it comes to depression is a persistent feeling of sadness, of pessimism, of irritability, of low self-esteem, of not having enough sleep, okay, eating heavily, not eating at all, not having energy, lack of concentration, lack of interest in activities, signs of hopelessness. I'm talking about signs of depression. And also at times it could lead to physical ache, body pain, and all of sort. Those are the signs of depression. However, the signs of loneliness, actually, it's more about feeling disconnected amidst, okay, plenty of people. All right, feeling disconnected, not being understood, not feeling understood, not feeling supported. And loneliness is actually a state of mind and a feeling. All right, it doesn't stay for so long, but if it's not attended to, it could become persistent that it leads to depression. Okay, and then there are lots of things that could cause loneliness. Loneliness could be caused by the fact that you are actually a female. All right, I don't know, gender factor is a major cause of loneliness. All right, because women generally, when we get to a particular age, we stop secreting some hormones that helps us connect, okay, especially hormone called oxytocin. For men, it's ongoing. All right, all they need is an exposure, what they see, what they hear, when they are touched. But for women, even with what we see, what we hear when we are touched, oxytocin, has gotten to a point where it becomes, it starts to go down. So being a female at times could be responsible for loneliness and then aging and all of that. And also, living alone could lead to loneliness, being widowed, being older, having health problems could lead to loneliness, having limited number of social interactions, social resources, social exposures, isolating yourself, or even blaming yourself for things, past experiences of life could be. Loneliness could also be caused by loss of a loved one. When you lose a loved one, especially when the person is so, no matter how young or old, there's every tendency you're likely to feel lonely. And also, having a loss of relationship also could lead to loneliness, maybe loss of job, mental health issues, moving to a new place, not knowing anyone, especially those who are doing the jackpot spree at whatever age, adverse event of life could lead to loneliness. So what do you do? How do we handle it? Number one, keep tab with your feeling. All right, especially when you are up there in terms of age, keep tab with your feeling, the fluctuating hormones, the fluctuating feelings. Don't disregard what you feel. Note what you feel. Then take time for yourself. Note it, connect with people deliberately, prioritize yourself, and talk to someone about what you feel. And also, the people who are around the aging adult should pay attention to them. Watch out for a switch in their hormones, in their feelings, their responses, and then sudden feeling of wanting to be alone, complaining, and all of that. And also help them. Don't shout at them. Don't say their own is too much. Help them to volunteer in a group and help them join a support group. Loneliness is not a disease. Depression is not incurable, but there is a link between loneliness and depression which can actually be managed. Thank you.